Hello Algebra 1 students, and today we're going to look at solving one-step equations. It is our second section of Unit 2. Your learning goals for today: you need to be able to solve one-step equations with one variable. So how are you going to solve? A lot of us have seen these before. These are actually really simple problems. Some of them we can even do in our head. But first you need to identify what operation is currently in the problem. So if there is addition or subtraction or multiplication or division. Then we need to do the inverse operations to solve for x. Now, you guys know the inverse operations already. Addition goes, his arch nemesis, if you want to call him that, is subtraction. And multiplication's arch nemesis is division. And so forth. Divisions is multiplications, subtractions is addition, alright? So we need to think of opposites and inverse operations. Let's take a look at a few problems. So I have, what is the solution to x plus 13 equals 27? A lot of you in your head, you're saying, well, I know the answer already. Let's show the work for it. So I have x plus 13 equals 27. First things first, I notice I have addition in the problem, so I got to do the inverse of that. So inverse of addition is subtraction. So I'm going to subtract both sides here, because what you do to one side's got to do to the other. It's kind of like a balance beam or a teeter-totter, if you remember that when you were a kid. You had to make sure the same level is on both sides. Otherwise, one side is going to spill over. So I'm going to get x here. 13 minus 13, well, 13 minus, that's 0. So that actually just cancels out, and I'm left with, on the right-hand side, 27 minus 13, that's 14. So my answer is x equals 14. Now, what if you like to check your work? Here's a good way. Well, this x equals 14, what I can do is pop that in, because it's a solution, right? So last time we learned that if we know the solution to check to see if it is, you plug in your x. Well, same thing. I can take that 14 and plug it into my problem. So I got 14 plus 13 equals 27. Well, 14 plus 13, that does equal 27. So I know I have the right answer. I got A plus on that problem. It's a very good thing to do, even if you just do it in your head, by all means. But it's a very good thing so you can check to see what the problem is. What about this one? I have negative 7 is equal to b minus 3. So, very first thing I got to do, I got to figure out what operation is currently going on here. Well, I have subtraction, right? So, arch nemesis of subtraction is addition. So, I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Got to keep that balance beam straight. Negative 7 plus 3, if I'm 7 in the hole and I gain 3, I'm still 4 in the hole, right? Negative 3 plus 3, that's 0, so that cancels out. So I'm left with negative 4 equals b. Let's check to make sure that works. So negative 7 equals negative 4 minus 3. Notice how I took that negative 4 and I plugged it in for our b value, okay? Negative 4 minus 3, well, that's negative 7. Negative 7 equals negative 7. Wonderful, got the right answer. Pat on my back. Let's take a look at problem 3. I have 4x equals 6.4. Now, a lot of us in our heads are thinking, I can't get that answer. That's okay. I can't off the top of my head tell you what 4 times what gives you 6.4. So I got to undo this. How do you undo? I have 4 times x, right? Because there's technically a little times here. We just don't put it there. So I got to undo multiplication. To undo multiplication, we're going to divide. So 6.4 divided by 4. Let me do that on my calculator really quick. That's 1.6. So x has to equal 1.6. Let's do a double check. 4 times 1.6 should equal 6.4. 4 times 1.6, that is 6.4. I just did it on my calculator quick. So that checks out wonderfully. Got the answer there. Let's try this one. I have x over 4 equals negative 9. Now, you're saying, there's no operation on this, Ms. Marsh. There actually is. It's kind of hidden. When you have a fraction, this is actually division right here. Okay? Assume if you see a fraction bar, you're doing division. So actually, I could read this as x divided by 4 equals negative 9. So I got undo that division by 4. So undoing division is multiplying. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. What's going to happen over here? This 4 and that 4 cancel out to give you 1, because that's 4 over 4, which is 1, right? So I'm left with 1x equals negative 9 times 4, negative 36. So I got x equals negative 36. Does that work? Let's do a check here. So negative 36 over 4, does that equal negative 9? Negative 36 divided by 4, that is negative 9. So I did get the right answer, which is marvelous. And the last problem for the day. I have 4/5 m equals 28. I need to find the solution here. I don't know what to do here. Normally I would have, because there's multiplication, right? So I would have divided by 4/5. But dividing by the fraction is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So instead of dividing by 4/5, I'm going to actually multiply by the reciprocal, the flipped version, 5/4. That's on both sides. So I'm going to multiply by 5/4 on both sides. Over on this side, 5 over 5 and 4 over 4, that's going to make 1. So I'm left on the left-hand side with 1m. Now, I need to figure out what 28 times 5/4 is. You could quickly do that on your calculator. I'm going to do it with some cross-canceling here. So 4 divided by 4, that's 1. 28 divided by 4 is 7. So I have 7 times 5, which is 35, over 1 times 1, which is 1. So I have m equals 35. Let's check to see if that's true. 4/5 times 35. Does that equal 28? Let's quickly do that on my calculator. Actually, that cancels out. Gives me a 1. 4 times 7, yeah, that's 28. Works out perfectly. A-okay. And that's the end of this video. See you later, Sabers.